Hi guys, Mr. Fraser here from NeonMaths, Bright Maths, Bright Future. Have you ever wondered what the graph y equals 5 looks like? Probably not. But in maths, you need to be able to draw and recognize graphs that are parallel to the x and to the y axes. And this session leads on to some slightly more complicated things. We're going to look at drawing, plotting straight line graphs, and also looking at what m and c mean in y equals mx plus c. I hope you find this useful.
Push it all the way to the max, wherein the pencil's gotta learn. When you can't think, mine is on fire. Mass fighter, now it's warrior time, so get preparing. Gladiator, mass is the armor that you're wearing.
Okay, let's get started by talking about some of the jargon, some of the words that we use when talking about this area of maths. Now, I'm sure many of you guys will recognize this. It's just an x and a y axis. The word that we use to describe an x and a y axis like this is a Cartesian plane. Now, it's important that you remember which is the x-axis and which is the y-axis. I'm sure you have a really good way of remembering it yourself. And the way I used to remember it when I was at school is I used to think, okay, x, well, if you look at the shape of an x, it's a cross, right? So x is a cross, it's a cross. And then I just remembered y, sky high. So the one that goes across is the x-axis and the one that goes up and down is the y-axis. The middle bit, where the two axes meet, is often referred to as the origin. And it also has the coordinates 0, 0. Speaking of coordinates, what is a coordinate? Well, a coordinate is a very specific point on the Cartesian plane. We always write coordinates as two numbers inside brackets that are separated by a comma. So the x-coordinate tells us how many we go along across. So if it's a negative value, we go to the left. If it's a positive value, we go to the right. And the y-coordinate tells us how many we go up or down. If it's positive, it's up, or if it's a negative, we go down. Now the Cartesian plane is split into 4 quadrants. Our first quadrant, second quadrant, our third quadrant, and our fourth quadrant. And we're going to start there. That's a great place to start. So how do we recognize graphs that are parallel to either the x-axis or the y-axis? To start off with, we're going to put some points up on the Cartesian plane. And we're going to plot the point 2, 2. So we're going to go along 2 and up 2. We're going to do 2, 1, along 2, up 1, 2, 5, 2, 0. What do you notice about all of those coordinates? Well, I'm going to draw a line through those to try and make it just a little bit clearer. Now, everywhere along that line has something in common. All of the x coordinates are 2. Doesn't matter where I pick along that straight line, I'll first of all go 2 along and then a number up or down. They're all going to fall on that line. In fact, because all of the x coordinates are 2, that graph is called x equals 2. X equals 5 would look something like this. X equals minus 5 would look something like this. And x equals 0 would look something like this. But what about this one? Well, let's mark the point negative 4, 3. And let's do negative 2, 3, 0, 3, 3, 3, and 5, 3. Okay, and we're going to draw, once again, we're going to draw a straight line through all of those points. Now, everywhere along that line shares something. They have something in common. In this case, the y-coordinate is always the same. It doesn't matter where we go along that line, the y-coordinate is always 3. We label that graph y equals 3. Here's y equals negative 6, y equals 0, and y equals 5. So that's that. That's graphs that are parallel to the x and the y axes. Please look out for my next video, which is how we plot straight line graphs, and the video after that where we look at what m and c mean in y equals mx plus c. I hope you found this useful. Please subscribe to my channel.